Emergency powers used by Mayor Erin Mendenhall to mandate masks for all students in Salt Lake City.
They are understanding that she's concerned about our students.
The reaction from parents on her side and those angry tonight, plus the possible legal fight ahead.
There is a killer that is out there.
2 women are found dead in Grand County. Tonight, disturbing details are coming to light.
They had said that there was someone creeping them out at where they have their campsite.
What family says about the tragic loss and what they know happened before the women were killed.
It was a nice Friday here across the state, but I'm tracking more storms for Saturday. The timing and the main threats, plus when will the thick smoke return? I've got that timing as well.
Happy birthday to you.
A Utah firefighter on the front lines in California gets a birthday surprise. The story coming up.
Live from Utah's news leader, Fox 13 News at 9, starts right now.
Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Bob Evans.
And I'm Kelly Chapman. Parents and educators now reacting tonight after Salt Lake City Mayor Erin Mendenhall took action today, issuing an emergency mask mandate.
Fox 13's Haley Higgins has been following this developing story all day. She joins us live tonight from Salt Lake City Hall. Haley.
Yeah, so this new executive order from Mayor Mendenhall, now it goes against the Utah legislature and a vote by the Salt Lake County Council last week that turned down a mandate that was countywide. But her new executive order goes even farther.
At Salt Lake City School District's back to school night, students pick up supplies for their first day. On Tuesday, they'll also need to bring a mask, from seniors to kindergartners and even educators.
Fine, if it's going to keep them safe.
I don't really mind it since I've been doing it for a while.
Mayor Erin Mendenhall signed the executive action after the Salt Lake School Board refused to honor her request to recommend a mask mandate, citing concerns about the new laws preventing such action by local health departments and the governor.
I don't know what the legislature might do, but this is completely in legal authority for myself or any mayor to take this kind of an action.
Mendenhall believes city attorneys found a loophole in the legislation allowing her emergency order. Last week, Salt Lake City Council voted down a mandate recommended by the local health department. As for a challenge, she says she's ready.
It's entirely possible. There have been a lot of legal challenges to Salt Lake City over completely legal actions we've taken, and I'm very confident in our attorneys' assessment of our authorities.
Utah Parents United, a group against masking students, tells Fox 13, quote, "It's still unclear as to how she might have the authority to issue a mandate. We are wondering how a mandate would be policed." However, the local teachers union and the school district superintendent approved masks in schools.
We are appreciative of the mayor, and we are they're understanding that she's concerned about our students. We're concerned as well.
Now, there is unusual silence from Capitol Hill tonight after the emergency order was put in place. Now, we didn't get comments from the governor's office, from the Speaker of the House, as well as the Attorney General's office. But we did hear from the Senate President, Stuart Adams, and he says that they will continue to monitor the data and oversee what's happening in Salt Lake City, as well as the rest of the state. Reporting live in Salt Lake City tonight, Haley Higgins, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Haley, thank you. The mask mandate is only good for 30 days. It'll be up to the Salt Lake City Council to renew after that.
Well, yesterday, we told you about a potential federal investigation into Utah laws that ban mask mandates. Now, that investigation could result in Utah losing hundreds of millions of dollars in federal funding. When asked, the U.S. Department of Education pointed to a blog post by Secretary Miguel Cardona. In it, it says, quote, "We stand with our educators and leaders who are working to safely reopen schools and maintain safe in-person instruction." Right now, there are 7 school districts in Utah with more than a dozen active cases of COVID-19. Granite School District has the most, with 28 current cases. Washington, Salt Lake County Charter and Private, Alpine, Davis, and Canyons districts are all dealing with more than a dozen cases right now.
Brigham Young University will require masks this fall semester. The school says masks will need to be worn in classrooms and in any indoor space when physical distancing cannot be maintained. President Kevin Worthen also made an impassioned plea today for those who have not been vaccinated to please do so.
I'm making an urgent appeal to our BYU community. Please be vaccinated as soon as possible so the fall semester can proceed as planned. We wholeheartedly support the First Presidency's recent message urging individuals to be vaccinated.
Current data shows 70% of BYU students and 76% of faculty and staff have received at least one COVID-19 vaccination. President Worthen says the best and fastest way to return to normal is for everyone to get a shot.
We still have smoke lingering throughout Utah tonight, but put that aside, the temperatures this evening were so nice, Allison, so delightful. I went downtown Salt Lake to grab something to eat, and it was so great to see people just walking and sitting outside eating.
Yes.
Really nice.
We'll keep these mild temperatures around for quite a while. Mostly clear sky for this Friday night for Salt Lake up through Ogden and Logan down into Provo. For southern Utah, clear sky. Now temperatures will be on the rise for St. George next week, but as you wake up tomorrow morning here in Salt Lake, temperatures in the 60s. We do have the chance for some afternoon thunderstorms though, so you need to be weather aware. The wind is also going to pick up across the state tomorrow. Thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon, most likely north of I-80, but that does include the Salt Lake City area and the valleys down towards Point of the Mountain as well. Strong wind and also a chance for some localized flooding heading into tomorrow's storms. So coming up, let's talk about that chance for rain, how you can stay weather aware and stay safe this weekend. Plus, when will that thick smoke return? The answer is coming up.
All right, Allison, thank you. The family of two Moab women found dead near their campsite in the LaSalle Mountains are calling for answers tonight. The Grand County Sheriff's Office is searching for a suspect in their deaths.
Fox 13's Lauren Steinbrecher explains how friends are reporting some disturbing details from right before these two women went missing.
With positive vibes and nothing but joy in her smile, to Bridget Calvert, her niece Kylan Schulte was a ray of light.
Her having such a beautiful soul, to see it complemented with someone like Crystal, that they could really enjoy life and do it together.
Kylan and her wife, Crystal Turner, got married 4 months ago, loved living van life, and called the outdoors around Moab home. Many people knew the couple around town, which is why when the two were no-call, no-shows to work 2 days in a row on Tuesday, it was clear something was wrong. The family, all out of state, say police searched, but it wasn't until an acquaintance drove out to the South Mesa area and the LaSalle Mountains herself Wednesday that they discovered the horrifying news.
She was on the phone with my brother when she pulled up to the car. She looks at the site and sees a body and tells my brother that he sent a text that said it's Kylan and Crystal.
The Grand County Sheriff's Office confirmed the two women were shot and killed, they believe, by someone else.
The evidence that we've gathered at this time, that's what it's led us to believe was an isolated incident.
That's all they can say for now. Bridget explained how friends told them the couple mentioned a man creeping them out near their campsite last Thursday and Friday.
Their friends Saturday that they met up with, they said they were going to go move. They were going to go pack up and move their campsite. That it was like he was still creeping them out.
The family is hoping someone can help them find answers.
What is very uncomforting is that there 100% is a murderer on the loose.
A murderer who took two lives away, but the family says will never put out the light, the love of Kylan and Crystal.
We're going to let their love light shine, that they had the most beautiful love, and that light is not stopping.
Lauren Steinbrecher, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Anyone who may have seen something suspicious in the South Mesa area of the LaSalle Mountains last week or has any information can remain anonymous and should call 435-259-8115.
Carbon County Sheriff's deputies need your help right now. They say 2 small children disappeared from Price late last night or early this morning. These are these are the boys. They are 8-year-old Manson Rowley and 6-year-old Arson Mangum. Both have blonde hair and blue eyes. Police believe Manson's father, 33-year-old Derek Michael Rowley, has them, and they may be headed to Washington State. Rowley is not allowed to be in contact with Mason. The father is 6 feet tall, 190 pounds, with tattoos of a crown on his neck and a skull on his right hand. Investigators believe Rowley is driving a gold-colored older model Chevrolet pickup truck. The vehicle has a Washington State license plate number C66780T. If you have seen Rowley or the little boys, call 911.
Scary moments in Cache County this afternoon. Take a look. A school bus in Smithfield was hit by a semi-truck. The bus was taking 28 Green Canyon High School students to Newton when a semi-tractor trailer hit the bus right on the front passenger side corner. Quite a bit of damage here. Fortunately, no one was seriously hurt. One student was taken to a hospital just as a precaution.
You know, we send our well wishes to all of the students involved, especially the student who was transported to the hospital or their family. We care about them, and the driver cares about them.
The other students on board were either picked up by parents or taken home in other buses. The Utah Highway Patrol is investigating what happened.
Coming up on Fox 13 News at 9.
They have some strict protocols. We're going a little bit above and beyond.
You want to see a show or a play? In some cases, prepare to show your Vax card.
You need to make a decision before things are a problem.
Moderna and Pfizer approved for a COVID-19 booster shot, but not Johnson & Johnson.
What one expert has to say about J&J being left out and when it could be available as a booster.
A 42-year-old missing person cold case is finally solved.
Unless we solve a case, we haven't done our job, and that's why they never stop.
We'll have the details that Salt Lake City Police Department says is their oldest that they've ever solved yet, coming up.
People are coming back, and they're coming back big time.
Concerts and plays are returning as more people get vaccinated, but some venues are requiring proof of vaccination.
Fox 13's Ben Winslow breaks down what you need to know before you head to a show.
Salt Lake Acting Company is reopening its doors for its new show.
Slack Cabaret is the perfect show to be your first live theater experience in 18 months.
But if you want to see Slack Cabaret, you've got to bring proof of vaccine and a mask.
We're also part of the Actors Equity Union, and they have some strict protocols. We're going a little bit above and beyond.
Since the theater reopened, the company's artistic director says people have been largely supportive.
The patrons come in and say, thank you. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for all the decisions that you've made throughout the past 18 months. And they're grateful. There has been just a few that are kind of upset by it.
Slack is not alone. The State Room and Commonwealth Room, 2 big concert venues in Salt Lake City, are also requiring proof of vaccination. If not, they call for proof of a negative COVID test within 24 hours of the show.
Tiptoeing on eggshells.
The Park City Song Summit and some other festivals are requiring proof of vaccination for entry.
Consumer sentiment in Utah is stridently anti-demonstrating proof of vaccine.
The Utah Cultural Alliance's Crystal Young says they surveyed people about returning to events as we navigate the pandemic. People are coming back, and venues have to figure out how to keep everyone safe.
We will for sure see the return of mask requirements, not from government, but from businesses for indoor venues following the CDC guidelines. People are pretty comfortable about that.
In New York, a lot of Broadway shows are requiring proof of vaccination, and it's entirely possible that when the touring shows come through Salt Lake City to places like the Eccles Theater here, proof of vaccination will be required.
Because of how the state statute has been written on what counties can and cannot enforce in terms of the COVID pandemic. The county itself cannot set those guidelines, but the county can allow its presenters, its renters in their facilities to set their own policy.
For those that don't want to show proof of vaccine at the door, Salt Lake Acting Company is offering to stream the show.
The audience is saying, I thank you, it's so great to be back. And I think they're rooting for us to not have to close again. So let's just keep our fingers crossed.
Ben Winslow, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Let me be clear. Any American who wants to come home, we will get you home.
President Joe Biden there addressing the nation today on the evacuation efforts currently underway in Afghanistan. U.S. military forces are now scrambling to remove Americans and vulnerable Afghans from the country. The president says he is committed to evacuating Afghans who assisted with U.S. Operation Enduring Freedom and also people working for non-governmental and women's organizations.
This is one of the largest, most difficult airlifts in history. And the only country in the world capable of projecting this much power on the far side of the world with this degree of precision is the United States of America.
Now, the president originally said the U.S. will be out of Afghanistan by August 31st, but today he suggested the withdrawal deadline could be adjusted.
New England is bracing for a potential beating this weekend as the storm called Henry gains strength. The National Hurricane Center warned of a dangerous storm surge and heavy rainfall in parts of Long Island, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and southeastern Massachusetts. Many are preparing for what could be the first hurricane to hit New England in 30 years.
Blackout power for somewhere between 100,000 and 300,000 residents based on the current estimates.
Governor Baker also warned that they could see 3 to 5 foot storm surges. He has activated up to 1,000 National Guardsmen to respond to the storm.
Our meteorologists will be keeping an eye on that all weekend long. And Allison, let's talk about our weather locally.
Yes, well, locally, our big problem has been a lot of rain this week, but also our air quality. So right now, Logan down through Ogden and Layton, I just updated this information from Purple Air. We're still leaning between moderate and unhealthy for sensitive groups here along the Wasatch Front. Same thing for Salt Lake up in the mountains. Park City also dealing with that smoke down into Heber. And then we look into Utah County. I'm happy to see that Provo and Orem have improved just slightly from earlier this afternoon. It's now leaning towards more yellow, which is the moderate air. And then into southern Utah, much better than it was last night at this time for St. George and Cedar City. Now, Salt Lake currently temperatures 68 degrees. Our sun has gone down. It was a really nice soft sunset. We have light wind right now. It was a gorgeous Friday night here in Salt Lake, and temperatures currently that are on the cooler side. Up in Heber, 55, 66 for Provo right now, 69 degrees in Ogden, and temperatures for Brigham City, 68 currently. We're still holding on that heat right now for St. George, where it's 89 degrees, but the temperatures next week in St. George are really going to ramp up. So mostly clear sky tonight. Logan, Ogden, down into Lehigh, Provo, Salt Lake, Harriman, Tooele, Grantsville, Park City. We all have clear sky canvas right now. Down into southern Utah, we had some patchy clouds from Capitol Reef down towards Zion National Park today, but right now we're dealing with mostly clear sky. And if you're planning any road trips this weekend, we're going to have the wind picking up tomorrow. So our wind is going to increase out of the south. Moisture is going to move in, and we're also going to have some more smoke that moves in, and that's most likely to happen early on Sunday or late Saturday. So with more chances for showers and thunderstorms, keep in mind you might be driving through some thunderstorms tomorrow night here across northern Utah. Heavy rain, small hail, and strong winds are possible. So just a reminder, turn around, don't drown, never drive through a flooded roadway. Futurecast shows that chance for rain really begins to impact northern Utah by tomorrow afternoon. So a line of thunderstorms possible starting after lunchtime, but most likely around dinner time tomorrow night here along the Wasatch Front. So coming up later in the hour, I'll show you what that can mean for how that's going to play out here across the state on a Futurecast. But overnight temps about 60 to 65. Highs tomorrow will be around 70 to 80. And for St. George, you're going to be close to 105 middle of next week. Until then, Mid to upper 90s this weekend with that wind picking up. And for the Wasatch Front, in the 80s for much of our 7-day forecast, close to 90 next week. But as I mentioned, coming up, let's talk more in depth with that chance for showers and thunderstorms tomorrow night, plus your smoky sky forecast.
See you then, Allison. Thank you. Still ahead, it was perhaps the biggest diaper drive Utah has ever seen. We'll tell you how many diapers Fox 13 News and Homemade Essentials collected for families in need at Rio Tinto Stadium when we come back. Hi, everyone. Welcome back tonight. UDOT opened a new interchange today connecting US 89 and I-15 in Layton. It's at Gordon Avenue, and it's the third new interchange on US 89 this month alone. UDOT says this doesn't just make the road safer, it helps to lessen commute times.
It actually has lessened the impact. The noise has gone away as you stand away from these interchanges. You have a better view. People are seeing sunsets that they've never seen before. It's just a phenomenal job.
Pay attention to driving, but man, when you can catch a nice sunset,
yeah,
you got to check that out as well.
You do.
UDOT says crews will now move on to the fourth and final interchange at Antelope Drive, as well as new bridges over US 89 at Nichols Road and Crestwood Road. The project is scheduled for completion in late 2023.
Fox 13 News and Homemade Essentials teamed up today to put on the largest diaper drive in Utah, benefiting the Utah Diaper Bank. Home builders from around the state also participated in the effort to collect donations. 192,000 diapers were collected at Rio Tinto Stadium today. If you'd like to donate to the Utah Diaper Bank, go to fox13now.com.
Coming up after the break.
COVID-19 booster shots are expected to be available soon, but only for 2 of the 3 vaccines.
It's a little disappointing to see them being left behind.
Why 14 million Americans are left wondering what protection, if any, will come their way.
How well do masks work in stopping the spread of the coronavirus? Tonight, doctors from the University of Utah separate fact from fiction.
See if you can guess which job category is employing 75% more Utahns now than it did just 2 years ago. That's coming up.
It's the oldest cold case that Salt Lake City police have ever solved.
What I remember most was a really good mom.
How the victim's family is reacting to finally having some closure.
Next month, vaccine providers will start offering booster shots to millions of Americans. But at the moment, that does not include people who got the Johnson & Johnson vaccine.
Derek Stahl explains the delay and why some experts think a booster is overdue.
14 million Americans have gotten the one-dose J&J vaccine, and a lot of them are probably wondering, what about us?
For people who received the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, we anticipate vaccine boosters will likely be needed.
Likely, but so far, the nation's top health officials say they're not ready to make a conclusion. The CDC is still assessing how well J&J works against the Delta variant.
I think we need to recognize that the Johnson & Johnson vaccine was over 2 months behind the mRNA vaccines in terms of its data and when we started to vaccinate people. So it shouldn't be a surprise that we are a little bit behind in the data there.
But at the La Jolla Institute for Immunology,
It's a little disappointing to see them being left behind.
the wait-and-see approach doesn't sit well with Dr. Shane Crotty.
You need to make a decision before things are a problem.
Dr. Crotty says while all the shots have been extraordinary against severe disease, our understanding of how well they prevent infections from Delta is somewhat outdated, particularly with J&J. Before Delta existed, clinical trials showed J&J was 72% effective in the U.S. and 100% effective against hospitalization. Since then, several studies showed the mRNA vaccines losing some effectiveness against Delta, but we saw no real-world stats on J&J until this month. A study of nearly 500,000 healthcare workers in South Africa revealed one dose of J&J dropped from 100% effective against hospitalization down to 71% because of Delta. The The study didn't report how well the vaccine prevented disease in general.
That's not the range we want to be in, for preventing those severe outcomes.
Crotty says 71% just isn't great when you consider the mRNA vaccines are still more than 90% effective against hospitalization.
That seems to me to be enough to warrant a J&J booster, but I think they want to see some different clinical trial data for some reason.
Johnson & Johnson has been studying a 2-dose regimen since last year, and early results in January were promising. The second shot nearly tripled antibody levels with no increase in side effects. But the company still hasn't released its final results. Dr. Crotty wonders why health officials don't act sooner rather than later.
I'm hoping that means they think there will be J&J data in the next week or something, that would be affecting that decision, and they're just going to wait for that, because I don't think it makes sense to wait for a month.
Derek Stahl, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Health officials are making boosters available to people who got Pfizer and Moderna vaccines 8 months after their second dose. If they use the same timetable for Johnson & Johnson, those boosters would most likely start in November.
Utah saw more than 1,100 new cases of COVID-19 today, as well as 9 new deaths from all across the state. Hospitals are now more crowded, with 419 people being treated for COVID-19. The weekly positivity rate is now 14%. 8,553 more people were vaccinated since yesterday's report, and 3,484 additional Utahns are now considered fully vaccinated.
More nursing homes want COVID-19 vaccines for residents and staff. The U.S. Centers for Medicaid and Medicare Services says there has been a recent uptick in requests for vaccine access. Nationally, about 60% of nursing home staff and 83% of residents are fully vaccinated. On Wednesday, President Biden said nursing homes must have vaccination requirements in order to continue receiving Medicare and Medicaid funding.
3 members of the U.S. Senate have contracted COVID-19. Senators Angus King of Maine, Roger Wicker of Mississippi, and John Hickenlooper of Colorado all say they have mild symptoms and are now isolating. All 3 are fully vaccinated and represented breakthrough cases. Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina announced his breakthrough diagnosis just earlier this month. The Senate is currently out on August recess. Experts at the University of Utah Health put some medical facts into the debate over whether students should wear masks to school.
They pointed to a study last winter in the Granite School District that showed that when everyone was wearing masks, in-school transmission was less than 1%. But the study also found that 60% of those cases led to transmission of the virus back home. That's especially bad with Utah's ICUs nearly full. And to make matters worse, there is a critical shortage of healthcare workers.
The best thing that we as individuals and as a community can do for our healthcare workers is to get vaccinated and to wear masks so that they know that we as a community support them and that we're caring for those that are caring for our community.
The study also found that the vast majority of children had no problem wearing masks day in and day out.
A 42-year-old missing persons cold case is solved by the Salt Lake City Police Department. We have their family's reaction straight ahead.
Salt Lake police say they have solved the 42-year-old cold case murder of Sandra Matat.
Fox 13's Spencer Joseph shows us how the case got solved.
I gave up hope like 2 decades ago that of ever getting closure.
In 1979, Sandra Matat disappeared without a trace, leaving behind several children, including her son, Daryl Hames.
What I remember most, she was a really good mom.
The case had gone cold. That was until last week when Hames got a call.
Saying that they would like a meeting with whoever could make it.
She was reported missing back in 1979 by her husband.
Unknown to Salt Lake City police in 1979, remains had been recovered in Millard County, but had never been matched.
And so in 2012, we're contacted asking if she's still missing.
Thanks to a database, DNA testing, and 9 more years of investigation, the match was confirmed and Sandra Matat's remains were positively identified.
I'm thinking finally closure.
The question of who murdered Sandra is still unsolved. In 1984, infamous serial killer Henry Lee Lucas confessed to killing Sandra Matat, but Lucas later recanted hundreds of confessions. Salt Lake City police believe Sandra's husband, Warren, knew more, but there was never enough evidence to convict him. Both are now deceased. But for her son, it's a relief, just finally knowing the truth.
So I'm glad they didn't actually close the case.
Police credit technological advancement, but also detectives that never gave up.
Unless we solve a case, we haven't done our job, and that's why they never stop.
But not having a mom did take a toll on their family.
Without a mom or whatever to hold you together, I think siblings do grow apart.
In a way, though, for Hames, his mom is bringing the family back together. He says he and his sisters have been on the phone almost every day and are now closer than they've been in years.
At the police station, yeah, I shed a tear, you know, and I haven't cried in years over my mom, you know, but I did shed a tear at the police station. But I'm more happy that I have closure and, you know, I'm talking to the sisters and stuff like that. She was missing for all this time, so we kind of grew apart, but now with the closure, we're coming back together.
With all of the technological advancements and the DNA matching that led to the conclusion of this case, the Salt Lake City Police Department says with that continually getting better, they hope more and more of these cold cases can be solved. In Salt Lake City, Spencer Joseph, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Still ahead, how is Utah faring as we continue to rebound from the pandemic? We'll go in depth on how the employment picture in the Beehive State fares.
I'm Andrea Irvin. The Utah Jazz regular season schedule was released today. You'll hear from the team owner, Ryan Smith, about the changes in the offseason. That's coming up in sports. Plus, high school football was back in action for week 2, though one team is playing its first game of the season. Details and game highlights still to come on Fox 13.
Welcome back, everyone. So glad you're with us for Fox 13 News at 9 on this Friday night. We have gorgeous temperatures outside right now.
Yes.
Still some smoke around parts of the state and maybe some lingering showers for your weekend. Will it ruin your plans?
I hope not, but I'm ready for a weekend. How about you?
Oh, always. Fox 13 meteorologist Allison Krogan. We'll have your first alert forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
Unemployment numbers show a strengthening picture for working Americans. The nation is at a pandemic low of 5.4%.
And just today, we learned how Utah is doing. Fox 13's Max Roth takes an in-depth look.
The American employment picture is good, but Utah's is better. These numbers, though, go deeper, and they show there are ways the economy has been shifting dramatically, with a lot of people benefiting, but certainly not everyone.
2.6% unemployment in Utah. That is a great number, but the more interesting information is hiding underneath. The Bureau of Labor Statistics compares July 2021 to pre-pandemic July 2019. And overall, Utah gained 52.4 thousand jobs in those 2 years. But Utah's metro areas, meaning the Wasatch Front from Box Elder to Juab counties and Logan and St. George, gained almost 67,000 jobs altogether. In other words, rural Utah lost 14.4 thousand jobs. Places like San Juan, Uinta, and Carbon counties are in a serious jobs recession. Those counties rely on industries that are down. Natural resources, oil, natural gas, and mining, down almost 16% in 2 years. And in leisure and hospitality, it's hotel and other lodging jobs that are down the most, over 16%. The counties that boomed have industries booming. Washington, Morgan, and Tooele counties saw the biggest job increases. There's a lot of home building there, construction up 12%. Also, retail and shipping jobs are up. Retail about 12%, and then couriers and messengers up about 76% in 2 years.
All of those delivery services have become a big sector of the economy all over. Other big job gains, though, computer systems, architecture, and engineering way up. And Utah's motion picture industry is down, losing nearly 20% of its jobs over 2 years. In the studio, Max Roth, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Well, happy Friday, everybody. We do have some more smoke in the forecast for later in the weekend, but to start things off, tomorrow morning we're going to have pretty much just haze here across the state into tomorrow afternoon, and then we are shifting to more of a west-southwest flow, and so we're going to see some more of that thick smoke making its way back into the state on Sunday morning. So here's what you can expect: more chances for showers and thunderstorms heading into this upcoming weekend. 68 degrees here in Salt Lake City. Light wind out of the north right now at 5 miles per hour, but we're going to end up with breezy conditions heading into tomorrow. So when you wake up, temperatures in the low 60s. You can get outside, take the dog for a walk. It'll be nice. By 8 o'clock in the morning, partly cloudy sky, and then into the 70s by 10 a.m. Satellite and radar here in Salt Lake City, up towards Logan through the Ogden area, down into Provo. We have clear sky. Same thing for southern Utah, St. George, Cedar City looking really good right now. Same thing over towards Price and Green River. Now for tomorrow, our storm threat does increase. The areas of lighter green that you're seeing, that more mint green, that's actually a chance for some thunderstorms here across the state. And then the darker green, that's chance a level 1 threat for more severe storms to develop. And this will take you from about Lehigh up into Idaho. So gusty wind possible with these storms tomorrow. We're also going to see the possibility of heavy rainfall. So our excessive rain outlook does yet again put a bullseye on northern Utah for a marginal risk for some urban flash flooding with storms that produce the quick heavy rainfall. Overnight temps will be about 55 to 65 here for Salt Lake, Provo, and Ogden. In the 40s in Park City. So if you're planning on getting up, going for a hike first thing in the morning, it'll be cool up in the mountains. And then by tomorrow afternoon, more chances for showers and thunderstorms. You'll see a line of those storms developing after lunch tomorrow. So upper 70s, Salt Lake, Provo, and Ogden. Here's how this will play out overnight. Chance for some scattered showers and thunderstorms, mostly up into the Uintas, about 8 a.m. tomorrow. Line of thunderstorms develop, and you'll notice, look at this little patch of rain from about Salt Lake up into Tremont, and essentially heavy rainfall possible during dinner time tomorrow night. And then those will be exiting the state at about midnight. So that's going to be our best chance for showers and thunderstorms over the next couple of days. So the rain projection here across northern Utah for the next 48 hours does bring us with the possibility of more than an inch, inch and a half of rain, mostly for the highest terrain north of I-80. Then our 6 to 10 day precipitation outlook actually keeps things dry here across the state. Now, if you're planning on doing any stargazing this weekend, our dark sky forecast with the Clark Planetarium does bring 40s, 50s, and 60s for overnight temperatures. We're still dealing with some patchy smoke, and then come tomorrow night, the chance for some thunderstorms. So maybe not the best stargazing this weekend. And for St. George, mid-90s tomorrow, back close to 105 Wednesday, Thursday, Friday next week. And for Salt Lake City, in the 80s for the rest of our 7-day forecast. And then some more smoke will likely move in early on Sunday.
Bountiful High School was one of 2 teams that did not play their first game of the season last week due to COVID-19. So tonight, the Bountiful Red Hawks geared up for their first time. Now, while Farmington is trying to redeem themselves after falling to Corner Canyon in their season opener, both teams are headed into this one with chips on their shoulder. Now, the advantage for Bountiful is that they are on their home turf for their first game of the season. And here they are in action. The Farmington pass is deflected by Drew Bowles, and Anisi Purcell intercepts it for the Red Hawks. Bountiful capitalizes. Max Barker passes to Drew Bowles, and he gets his day with a touchdown to put the Red Hawks on the board first. Now, the defense showed up today for Bountiful. Farmington scrambling the throw. Colin Moore gets his hand on it, and Hunter Nielsen picks it off. And again, the Red Hawks use what they have been given. This time, they're so sly that I can't even follow the ball. Corbin Cottle for the touchdown. This was all in just the first quarter, folks. Bountiful goes on to win 21-17 over Farmington. And now just down the street, Woods Cross hosting a very dominant Skyridge team who actually began their season with a shutout. Second quarter, Falcons up. This pass by McKay Hillstead goes the distance. Josh Davis with the hands to set up this play. Hillstead takes the snap and throws to Cannon Jensen. The freshman rolls over the line for Skyridge touchdown, 28-0 Falcons. Just before the half, Skyridge does it again. Hillstead to Zeke Greco, who does the rest. The Falcons with a shutout 2 weeks in a row, 49-0, the final over Woods Cross. Now let's keep this football rolling with Desert Hills at Cedar Valley, both with high-scoring wins last week. Now late in the first, Noah Fuilatola with the bullet of a pass to Lincoln Holmes. He manages to make the catch with the defender on him. Touchdown, Thunder, and then check out Eric Olson. He makes this catch, and from Fui, hits the ground running, shakes off the Aviators, and to the house. Talk about an offense that clicks. Fuilatolo to Austin Turbo. Desert Hills wins 38-7. Wow, I love high school football. Now the Utah Open teed off at Riverside Country Club today with the best local professional golfers, as well as some celebrities. Qualtrics founder and Utah Jazz owner Ryan Smith will be playing there this weekend. And with the Jazz's schedule coming out today, he talked about the moves that the team made in the offseason and how they got better.
I think we went into a pretty interesting offseason. Like, things could have gone a bunch of different ways, and with Mike coming back, and then obviously getting Rudy and Hassan and drafting Jared, and we got better, I think. I mean, we had a bunch of free agents say, I want to be in Utah, that had a lot of other offers, and you guys covered that in the media pretty well. But, I mean, behind the scenes, there's a lot of people that wanted Rudy Gay, and there's a lot of people that wanted Hassan, and he had option, and Mike as well, especially. He wants to be here, and that's pretty cool. And I think that's hopefully just the beginning of where we go. There's a lot of work that's gone into that, and a lot of work that'll continue to go into that.
And how awesome were those high school football games?
Oh, how fun.
It's so fun. I mean, I got there and it was just touchdown, touchdown. And I'm like, okay, wow.
And the crowd goes wild.
Yeah,
That's
so
fun.
much fun. So.
I wonder if Ryan's a good golfer.
I actually heard that he is.
It'll be fun to see.
Thanks, Andrea.
We'll
See
be
you
right
tonight.
back.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Cody Kirkham with the West Valley City Fire Department spent his big day fighting the Dixie Fire in Northern California. Dozens of Utah firefighters out on the front lines out there. Today he got a special shout out. And thanks to CAL FIRE for tweeting out this video. Happy birthday, Cody.
Oh, Cody, happy birthday. Happy
birthday, Cody.
Soon. Thanks for joining us tonight.
QuickCast up next.